we're looking at an Innervate here in Amaz's hand, which means, Innervate Wrath, I think, are good, decent cards to deal with Zoo, depending on what you have on the third card. The thing is that Dr. Boom is not guaranteed to... Do you keep Innervate in this position? Depending on...
I think you do.
Just because you have to?
You need answers against, like, Knife Jugglers and Flame Imps, or they'll just...
Pick up a Keeper of the Grove in this hand is amazing, I think. You know, it's funny because we were saying Keeper of the Grove, like I said Keeper of the Grove is great against Zoo as a starter card. You know, it gives you that early board presence. The drawback of it, I suspect, maybe that because the Zoo deck that Kolento's running is a bit slower, then it's also a bit worse.
Yeah, I actually have to point out that you might notice that Amaz's background is slightly different from what it normally is when he's playing in tournaments or when he's streaming, and that's because he's actually at the Archon house in Texas right now and not in Hong Kong where he usually lives. So he's got a team behind him to support him, not literally behind him because that would be cheating, but he's got a team to help him like go through Kolento's recent games to go like help him make deck lists. So he should be in a pretty good position right now.
Yeah, to scout out information, maybe refine deck lists. Alright, well that's a good start for Kolento with the Knife Juggler and to keep the Haunted Creeper. Definitely not too shabby, and Amaz has to handle this. Now, the appearance of Dr. Boom almost makes you want to wait for that turn 5 Dr. Boom, but you really can't get blown out. He's gonna do it though. Okay, he's gonna go for that turn 5 Dr. Boom. I think, you know what, this play might work out.
Like, if he didn't have that, I think he needed to coin out the Innervate Druid of the Claw because there's just no way you can, like, survive for that many turns. Oh, that's perfect.
Perfectly on curve here. The Shredder is going to be able to contest this board quite nicely. Well, how often... how do you feel about Iron Beaking that 4-3?
I don't think it's too bad. The thing with this deck, like, compared to other zoos, of course, if Kolento is indeed playing the same deck, is that it can afford to be a little slower because you have a lot of power in the late game with Bane of Doom, Void Callers, Melganis, for example, and even Sylvanas.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like the early starts, the early counters the Druid might get, don't guarantee they're going to be able to deal with your late game. Well, oh wow, that's a nice pickup. Nice hit, Juggler.
Yeah, good job. Let's see what comes out. It's Vitality Totem. Nice.
A free kill here for the Juggler. Who was going to go face and to realize, wait, that's going to heal up.
Yeah, as long as it wasn't like Explosive Sheep or Unstable Ghoul, I think Kolento would have been fairly okay with that.
Yep. Well, we see Dr. 5 come out, which is a bit of a problem, but Kolento's got his answers.
He's got his own Dr. 5 if he needs it, and he does have the power of Overwhelming, so no matter what, he can actually deal with Dr. Boom on this turn. And after Dr. Boom is dealt with, Amaz doesn't have the most impactful plays.
Well, he has Druid of the Claw and Nation of Lore and Rag. It's not terrible, but let's just be honest. The follow-ups that Kolento has are also pretty strong. You gotta give those cards credit. And now the uncertainty of the Boombot's detonations also adds to the complexity of the decision-making here.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can go. The three main options I see are the Power of Overwhelming. You can combo that with the Imp Gang, or just play with the Imp Gang Boss. And then you can also tap. So, judging from this play, I think he's going to play the Imp Gang Boss.
Is he just going full face?
No, there's no way, I think.
6, 7, 8 plus Doomguard. I didn't think so. Whoa! What a hit!
Yeah, really nice sequencing from Kolento. And
are you kidding me? Wow, those perfect Boombots.
Yeah, those Boombots, like, that was like the worst case scenario for Amaz and the best case scenario for Kolento.
Yeah, that tends to be the case. Well, that's a tad unfortunate. And that Iron Beak Cowl into Implosion. I want to talk about difficult situation for Amaz. That's as bad as it's gonna get.
Yeah, almost certainly the Knife Juggles are being able to clear this Sylvanas, so...
Well, maybe the RNG will not go in favor of Kolento this time.
Okay, I
Right.
lied.
Yeah. Monk lied. So I guess the question now is, do I really want to trade away anything, or do I just want to punch face and put the druid under pressure? I think the correct answer here is definitely putting the druid under pressure.
I think the correct answer here is like, I don't really care about swipe. Let him have swipe.
Yeah. If he's got swipe, he's still gonna be in a pretty tough spot. Well, Amaz does have a Druid Claw, but it goes down to Doomguard. I think you just slap Dr. Boom here for consistency's sake. Like, that way you're not throwing it away. There's no way you're gonna waste your Dr. Boom on this.
Yeah, throwing away Dr. Boom, that's crazy, Noxious.
Yeah, there's no way anybody does that. I mean, maybe in rare cases where you misclick.
Alright, Wrath. I think this will have to be a Wrath turn. Like, he needs to draw into either BGH or swipe here. There's no other way you can win this game.
You Wrath for draw on...
Maybe even Dr. Boom. Because if you are looking for... Or maybe just like a demon or an imp, perhaps? Like if you're looking for BGH, if you think you might need BGH.
So that's gonna waste the imp spawn. He's gonna try to get that BGH, see what he finds, and he finds Druid Claw number 2. That's not a dead draw, but that's not the optimal.
Exactly. You're gonna have to think that these boom bots will do an average, like you said, of 8 damage, and they'll probably do 8 damage to both Druid of the Claws, or 4
or the
damage
face. 8 damage to the face of the boom bots is also pretty likely. Wow, that gives Kolento the ability to vomit his hand on the board and play everything. You know, Voidwalker, Sea Giant, into... Wait, no, he can't flood the board any further.
Yes.
I lied. Noxious lied.
Yeah, normally you would be able to, but you just don't have enough space on the board to throw everything on.
Wow, first world problems. I have too many 8/8s on the board. I can't play anything.
Hey, well, it's not like Amaz is running Light Bomb here, right?
Right, right. And so Pistolento is going to be able to... I mean, honestly, I don't even know... Yeah, that is lethal, straight up. I was going to say, like, there's very little ways that I can see Amaz really come back from this, but he won't be able to. So Kolento's going to take the first game with that mid-range Zoo deck that you mentioned, which I think is what a lot of players have been running variants of that recently. And you say Amaz is no exception.
Yes, well, Amaz is probably going to be running more of a Zooey deck instead of a mid-rangey deck. I don't believe his deck list consists of Dr. Boom or Mal'Ganis. It pretty much tops off at Doomguard and Lotheb. So it's a deck that 6-0 and Amaz made together. And it's certainly a good deck. It's certainly a very rushy deck, but it's just a little different flavoring.
Yeah, so I wonder if Kolento's going to go for Priest or Warlock. Kolento's been playing a lot of his Recombobulator Priest with the, Recombobulator and Shadow Madnesses, and typically it's a deck that he pilots extremely well. And I think Control Priest in general is an archetype that he's very comfortable with. And you can tell, he turns games that otherwise, bad matchups, he turns around in ways that I'm always impressed with the way he manages to turn around bad matchups.
Exactly. I've played a lot of Kolento's list, and what I've learned from that list is that list actually doesn't do well in long games unless you get really good thought steals. The purpose of that list is you make it so that you make it really awkward for your opponent. Like if you steal, for example, a Sludge Belcher and you recombobulate it, it's usually just enough pressure to enough of a tempo swing to just end the game right there.
All right, so you just get the board.
Exactly. Instead of trying to make the game go long, you just try to win in the mid game with just insane Priest plays.
That's an interesting, because that's what Priest does. It combos in funky ways to change the way the board is going to look. And that the deck that Kolento is playing is exceptionally good at that.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing... Well, why are we talking about Priest? Because the next matchup is going to be Druid versus Druid. Probably the most common matchup in Hearthstone. And I know it's a matchup we all love.
Yeah, it's all about those amazingly well-crafted and designed and drawn Wild Growths and Innervates and Emperor Thorsons as well. Now that card's out, there's an additional mini-game the Druids can play. Beyond the simple Wild Growth and Innervate, you can now too play Emperor Thorson in your Druid Mirrors and enjoy the Force of Nature Savage Horde for 7 mana.
Yeah, that's always a fun one. Or My favorite is the Force of Nature for 10 mana.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though. If it's never happened to me yet. I've never had that happen to me yet.
It's happened in a tournament game before though. I will say
Oh,
that.
all right. So 6 treants. That's pretty cool. All right. Well, I think Amaz is already ahead on the Emperor Thorson minigame, but the Innervate minigame goes to Kolento.
I'd say that it's probably the Innervate that's slightly more valuable.
Yeah.
What a lot of players say is that Wild Growth is the most important card in this matchup, but what I've noticed the last 4 times I've been casting games where one Druid player gets Wild Growth and the other Druid player gets Innervate, it's typically the Innervate player that wins because the other Druid player can't deal with like just the pressure that comes with this Innervate. For example,
The 12 damage, right? The 12 damage it does recurrent, like, because that's what it does. It's 4 once, 4 twice, then possibly another time, like in some cases.
Yeah, so this Piloted Shredder might be able to deal that 12 damage unless Swipe is used. And if it deals that 12 damage, what Amaz will have to do is he'll be forced to play defensively the entire time, and he'll just make more inefficient plays than he normally would.
Yeah, and I really do like that. I have to say, oh wow, okay, wait, something changed here. The addition of the Innervate changes the possible lines of play that Amaz can take. There's a Spectral Knight play, but there's also a Coin Shredder into turns. Goofy really, like, Innervate Thorson next turn. Actually, that's not too bad. You coin out Shredder, then you go Innervate Thorson into a turn 6 Dr. Boom. Could that be done? Or would that not be enough? No, you get turn 5 Spectral Knight.
I think the problem here with any play is that none of the plays are defensive enough. And
Yeah, to win you the game, right?
Yeah, because you're on so much pressure right now. And it's actually, I have to question Amaz's decision making into bring Spectral Knight into this lineup, because Spectral Knight is a card that you just pretty much want to target rogues and warriors with. And I'm not sure if it's really good in the matchups that Amaz should be expecting from Kolento, especially like you have to think Kolento will be probably playing his Zoo deck, and he'll most likely play his Priest deck. So I would say, like, I don't think the Spectral Knight is actually that great against Priest because like, even though it's another 4/6, like, you expect it to be Shrinkmeister Cobalt, for example, or Shrinkmeister. Yeah. I guess it's resistant to Shadow Madness.
3/7. Alright, it's not quite there, but there's a lot of damage on this board. Kolento's pretty close. Like, one turn of beatdown might just be enough with the Shade next turn.
Well, just going for the beatdown right now.
I also have to go back to the BGH, by the way. The Kolento played as a body on turn 3. It's something that not a lot of players tend to do, and I think it's a huge mistake to hoard it if you can get the board presence right away. Like, after the Innervate Shredder, the next best thing is a 4-attack minion that comes out on turn 3.
I think Kolento had to recognize that he was the beatdown in the matchup because he got the Innervate early, so he had to keep that pressure up.
Yeah, I think it was a really nice decision for him. It's paying off, actually. He's really just very close to winning. He's got a Sylvanas on the curve, and then the moment he finds a late game Force of Nature Savage War, things could turn around. Well, I think he's gonna have to swipe here, right? I can't imagine anything else.
So, actually, if he doesn't swipe, that's...
Yeah, Keeper of... Yeah, it's lethal.
6.
Almost.
Yeah, that is lethal if he doesn't swipe.
Yeah. Well, that's exact lethal with Savage Roar. That's gonna give the game to Kolento. Yeah, Amaz trying to go for the possible double swipe on the following turn to wipe the board clean and maybe get a chance to transition to the late game, but there will be no late game. Kolento's gonna go up 2-0 against Amaz with 2 first games won. That's been a very short game, honestly, but this is typically what Druids do. One of the Druids will snowball while the other one does catch up, and then if he does catch up, then he tilts the game back in his favor. That tends to be a very common trend.
Just that Innervate play into that BGH, they were just so impactful because of the early damage Kolento was able to deal to Amaz. Kolento recognized that he had to be aggressive with the cards that he was dealt with, and he did so very effectively, playing a 4/3 on turn 1 and curving into Jungle Panther on turn 3.
Yeah, the interesting thing though about the BGH is that if Amaz had had the coin to go with the Keeper of the Grove, that is to go with the coin, he would have been able to take care of the BGH before it dealt any, the big damage, and so he would have lived. But it was really just that one card he definitely needed that he couldn't find. So we're gonna be moving on to the potential match point, I guess. It's gonna be Priest from Kolento against Amaz's Druid, and I think Kolento's Priest isn't as weak to Druid as I think other decks are. Especially not with Spectral Knight that you mentioned, Shrinkmeister Cabal. That's something that is not that uncommon.
Yeah, it's not like it might be that Amaz is running Spectral Knight possibly because he doesn't want to get Shadow Madness into recombobulated with versus Kolento's Priest. So yeah, that works as well, I guess. It kind of makes some sense.
Yeah, I don't think I can disagree with that. If Spectral Knight could get, I mean, if all your minions can get recombobulated after Shadow Madness, you're going to be in a world of hurt against Kolento, because that's what he does. Interestingly enough, though, Amaz's Kazan Mystic had zero chance to do anything against Kolento.
Yes, we do see the Kazan Mystic in the opening hand, but against Kolento's lineup of Druid, Priest, and Warlock, I don't know many Druid, Priests, or Warlocks that have secrets. Do you? Is there some new secret Druid that's running around lately?
Yeah, it's using Druid of the Flame. If it stays on the board for 17 turns straight, it gets plus 17, plus 17.
Ah, it's after all an Easter egg.
Yeah, it's an Easter egg in Hearthstone, exactly. Which is why you have to play Kazan Mystic to counter it. You know what? Amaz has really good answers here to this injured Blade Master following the Northshire Cleric.
Yeah, you don't really expect 2 Wraths from the Druid player.
So I think Amaz is going to be happy here. Wow, 1 turn off.
Little unfortunate for Kolento, but oh well, that's okay. The swipe is okay at least. Savage Roar probably won't be of much value because it looks to be that Kolento will be trying to come back into the board.
Yeah, we're looking at Dr. 5 though from Amaz's perspective. Dr. 5 or Ancient of Lore on 5. I think Dr. 5 could be typically a bit more impactful, but you're always wary of the potential follow-ups. Huh? Maybe we will not see Dr. 5 after all.
Druid of the Claw is still very good here. Yeah, as a 4/6, it's pretty threatening. You could also actually just
Dang you, the Arcanine, Hero Power.
Yeah, Hero Power, Innervate Druid of the Claw, and that feels really good because the Arcanine is just really threatening on the board.
You can't let it sit there, because it delays every tempo play you want to make. And if you do overextend, you're going to get punished. So I think Amaz has to answer it as soon as possible. Alright, this is a Bloodfen Raptor for the Druid of the Fang that Amaz may be playing in this deck, because Druid of the Fang is just everywhere. Perfect BGH bait.
It's true.
Alright.
That's where you should get your information from. Play Druid of the Fang.
Exactly. Just try it out. See how it goes.
Yeah,
I'll be here when you lose.
Really unfortunate top deck for Kolento. 2 Circle of Healings when both 1 injured Blade Master and one Organized Soul Priest have been used. And wow.
I was gonna say that turn 6 is horrible, but that turn 6 is not horrible at all. Amaz picks up the best turn 6.
Kolento basically needs an Arcanine here? No, so again, I guess the Sylvanas is okay, but he really wants something slightly better here.
Amaz finds a Wild Growth. That is no help, but I think... Actually, wait, what do I think? Do you just double straight? You can't double trade into that, there's no way. I think you just smash Dr. Boom on the board, and then just go on full aggression, because you're getting a swipe for 2 mana afterwards, and an Ancient of Lore for 5. So picture the pressure that's coming up. That's a lot. Well, there is a Nova, and a Pyro, and a swipe. Oh my goodness, could that be exactly what Kolento needed? He's gonna do some math here, but... The problem with those boom bots is that if they die to swipe, they risk killing the Wild Pyro, I think. Right? If the Wild Pyro is played first at any point.
Well, I think Kolento can almost guarantee a steal on Dr. Boom here.
Oh, he can guarantee it 100%. It's just that... Like, I'm just not sure...
Well, there's a possibility the bombs killed Sylvanas before he could do that.
Right.
Might have stolen Thorstein instead.
That would have been really problematic. But Amaz is now back on the defensive. But not that much, because the moment he finds, you know, the combo that he needs, he could be okay. He finds one piece of it. Is he thinking about Wild Growthing to get anything done? I don't think so.
Yeah, there's not much you can do with 10 mana that you can't do with 9 from this hand.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Maybe he's thinking about swiping face to put his opponent on like near lethal range with the combo, but that's a huge telegraph.
Even though it's a huge telegraph,
it still might be a good play, but yeah.
Yeah, the problem is like you don't have the Savage War in your hand, so
yeah,
it might be just a bit too YOLO, I would say.
He's definitely considering it. I mean, either way, his turn 9 is pretty much, you know, set in stone with Shredder and Spectral Knight. I feel like this is good enough on its own. He doesn't really need to reach for that 10 mana. The swipe is definitely a consideration.
Maz has to hurry up. I've never seen a Maz rope, but, you know, there's always a first. And yeah, there we go. Swipe to face.
Now, Kolento has to be wondering, why did he hesitate so long? Does he just not have it and he's gambling?
I think he's thinking that this will force my opponent to heal his face.
Yeah.
Kind of. And he won't be able to heal Dr. Boom at the same time, so he'll have to go for a defensive play. But fortunately for Kolento, he not only has he can hero power here, but he also has a Circle of Healing, and he has the Holy Nova, which will pretty much bring Dr. Boom right out of like any sort of range. So Kolento still has a 7/6 on the board, and he's safe from combo. So yeah, Amaz may be in somewhat of a difficult position here.
But with Shredder and Spectral Knight, what does Kolento do? There is oh wait, Shrink My
Look
Circuit
at
Ball.
that.
How did I
Exactly.
not? That is the worst outcome. Spectral Knight is gonna get stolen away. Or yeah, I mean, there's no way it's not, unless he Shadow Madnesses the Shredder at all. He's gonna take the Shredder instead. Doesn't want to leave any minions up on the Druid's board to make sure it doesn't, you know, give another minion for the combo.
Makes a lot of sense, and this is exactly why Kolento is so scary with Priest. He won a tournament recently, a 128 man Swiss tournament, in which like he wasn't invited to like the round of 16. He was invited, or he came to the round of 128, and he just dominated that tournament, getting first place in France.
Well, there's a lot of damage here on Kolento's side, right? There's 18 on the board, I believe. Yeah, there's 18 on the board plus Savage Roar. That would be lethal. So it's just a matter of Amaz trying to kill. He's dead. That's it. Game over.
Yeah, that's it. And Kolento will be taking a 3-0 in this series. Pretty unexpected, I would say.
Well, Savage Roar will do that. That's what happens.
Yeah, both the final results of the series, which was a 3-0, and also the how this game ended with the Savage Roar coming from the Druid's hand, they were unexpected. But you know what, Amaz, he probably didn't prepare too hard for this match. He isn't doing too well in the league. So.